We made her, and we underestimated her. Yes, she is injured, but I can guarantee you this, she will regenerate. And when she does, the only thing that will stop her from killing each and every one of us is Project X, Asset X. Perhaps he will stop her, but until then, we better make sure that we put everything out there, because when she comes back, we will all die. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Lobo. The channel is called ZooPF Visual Effects. Of course, this is a visual effects channel. For those of you who are new to the channel, if you actually like that video intro, you guys know what to do. Please like and subscribe, as it always helps me make more videos like this. And for those of you who actually are visual effects artists, hopefully you'll learn a few tricks and trades here and there to go out there and create something even more cool. Alright, that being said, today I want to share with you guys how I created this very cool intro scene here, which will be broken down into 3 different tutorials, which leads me to apologize to you guys for not having put a video out soon, because I was actually working on this to create 3 tutorials out of this. Alright, also there won't be any folders to download like all of my previous tutorials. If I do anything 3D wise, I have all these 3D models ready for you guys already. Either I created it myself or I got it for free from the sites, and I always give credit to the artist. But this, I actually want you guys to go out there and film yourselves or your friends or some actors and actress, and then bring it back and watch the tutorial and actually do it. You'll be so much more proud of yourselves once you've done that with your own footage of you or your friends or some actors and actress. Okay, but for those of you who don't have the opportunity to film yourselves or anyone, let me know and I will definitely leave the video in a folder in Dropbox for you guys to download too. Okay, I'm okay to do that, but I just want you guys to do it for yourself, so there will be so much more happiness at the end when you're done with your own footage and using what I share with you guys to create the superhero landing. Alright, that being said, let's move forward right away. I'm going to pause this, I'm going to minimize this. I am going to fly through this as fast as I possibly can. If there are things that you guys don't understand or I'm too confusing, please leave questions down below too, and I will answer those as best as I possibly can. Okay, so how do we do this? It's very simple. So the one thing I had my actress do is I had her start with the landing superhero style, okay? And halfway through the footage, let's go halfway through here, and I'm gonna click spacebar really quick so we can go right through it. And halfway through it, I had her just jump. And when I had her jump, I say jump as high as you possibly can. And when you're jumping, make sure that you're looking downwards as well so it looks believable. Okay, so here she did exactly what I asked her to do. And when she was done, she gave me that look. See that look right here? It's the look of, this is the stupidest thing I have ever done in my life as a model and as an actress. And I agreed with her. But when it was all done, she actually really loved what I created. So, you know, this is all visual effects right here. This is what actors and yourselves do sometimes. We do weird things like this, but it's all in the name of visual effects, okay? And once you're done with that, step number 2 is to actually film the background without your actors or yourself in it. And you got to make sure that it's longer than your jumping footage, okay? Because what we're gonna do next is we're gonna extract our actors, actress, or you, and you're gonna put yourself back in this footage here that has nothing or anyone in there, okay? And you might be asking yourselves now, okay, what can we just use like a still photo? A still photo won't sell it. But when you have in the background here, all these tall grass are moving, and it sells the footage, and that's very important, okay? All right, let's continue. From here, let's click our plain background footage out, and let's right click on our main footage here. Let's go time, enable time remapping. We have to reverse the footage. So go to the last key, bring it forward, and bring the first key and bring it to the last point here. So now we're starting with her giving me that look, and then it ends with the superhero landing. So I think her jumping is about in the middle here, just like that, and I'm going to stop it at this footage, this key here, because it's nice and sharp. Click shift, bring that back to where it's supposed to be. Also click shift and bring this to where it's supposed to be. Visualize, for me, this makes sense to me and it helps me stay focused. All right, once you're here, the next step to do is double click on the footage, and we have to click on the rotor brush tool. From there, green means great. It's going to extract what you want it to extract, and if you click Alt, it's red, and it means it's going to negatively extract everything out that you don't want. Okay, so here's an example, and boom, as you can see, that disappeared. Okay, so once you're here, just really quick extract any part of your actors or yourself so that this first key starts. Once you see this, go down to the end and make sure you bring all the way down to the end, okay? Because if you don't, even if you rotor brush it here, it's not going to remember what you did, and that's very important to make sure that you do this, just what I showed you here, okay? Once we're here, let's just go ahead and extract what we want to extract. We want her body here. Guys, mine is gonna look super horrible. At this point, it's okay because it is a tutorial. Make sure you guys spend more time on yours so yours looks much better, okay? Very important. Also, let's go back here. If you put half like I did, don't do that. Go back to full. And once it's full, see, as you guys can see, it was able to correct some mistakes that it saw, okay? So that's very important to do this on full mode, okay? Once again, mine's gonna look horrible, but yours will look perfect. Okay, once it's like this, page down to move forwards, page up to move backwards. I'm going to do just 3 keyframes. You guys, of course, will have to do all of your keyframes, okay? I just want to show you guys all these steps so that you guys will have that ready for yourselves. Alright, so page down one more time for our last key here, and as you can see, the rotor brush tool is doing everything for us, and we just go back and correct as necessary. And that was super helpful once Adobe introduced the rotor brush to us. Back in the days, you had to do everything using the mask. And I paused because for those of you who've done it, you already know how painful that is. Okay, it's extremely painful to use the mask to do this, and that's how it was done back in the days in After Effects to do the superhero landing, but now we don't have to do that anymore. Okay, we're using the rotor brush because we don't have a green screen. I didn't put a green screen behind her because I do have green screen, but it would have been too time consuming to do that, and I knew that using the rotor brush I could have the same effect. Of course, green screen would have been easier. One click of a button and you're done. But we didn't have a green screen, and that's what the tutorial is all about, okay? Alright, once we are here, let's go back to our main composition. As you can see, it's working. Mine looks horrible, but yours will look much better. And let's click this just to make sure that it is working properly, and it is working. If you notice, I didn't take the shadow. The reason why I didn't take the shadow was I wish I would have done it this way and have more control of the shadow later. Because when it was time to put that back into the workflow, I had to mask out the shadow. And trust me, that was very painful. So make sure that you mask your character out or yourself out, and then you rotor brush the character out, and then rotor brush the shadow out. I know it's gonna take a little bit longer, but in your workflow, it's going to make a lot more sense, okay? Because then you'll have full control of the shadow, because when you're falling from the sky, your shadow doesn't appear yet until you get close to the ground, and then the shadow does appear, okay? Alright, moving on. What do we have to do next? We have to put a green screen behind her. Before I do that, you guys might be asking me right now, hey, why don't we just go ahead and work from here and not do that? You're right, we could just work from there and not do that. But here's the thing. I'm gonna move all the way, I'm gonna move to my third keyframe, and you see this? Every time you move from keyframe to keyframe, After Effects is gonna have to process the roto brush. By processing the roto brushing, it's actually slowing your workflow. That's why it's important that once you're done with the roto brush, that you actually export this as a file and you put a green screen background onto it. Okay, once you put a green screen background onto it, it'll look something like this, and that's exactly what you want. Okay, so I'm going to repeat this and I'm just going to let it play so you can see it for yourself. Okay, once you have this just like this, then we're going to bring this back into After Effects and just key light it. Okay, all right guys, that takes care of roto brushing or actress or actors or yourself out, putting a green screen behind it, and making sure that you also have just a plain background with the same area that you shot everything. All right guys, the next step is to extract her out and start to create the landing. Okay, so let's go ahead and import what we created, which should be you in the green screen or your friends or actors and actresses. Double click on that and let's create a new composition. So that composition or composition folder, and from there I want you guys to see the mistake that I made here. As you guys can see, I extracted her shadow with her, and soon you will see how big of a mistake that was. So I hope that you guys didn't do the same thing I did and extracted both the bodies and the shadows separately. Okay, from here we go to Effect, go down to Keying, Key Light 1.2, click on this icon, click on the green screen, and it disappears. To make sure that everything is working properly, we're just gonna bring back our regular background footage, and of course we're gonna rename it to background footage. I think I named the other one differently. Yeah, plain background, but that's okay, life goes on. And it's beautiful, right? Because she's part of the background and the background is part of her, but really both are separately, so we know it's beautiful and it's working. From here we have to go back to our regular green screen, right click, go time, enable time remapping. From her jumping, we want to freeze that frame, and I believe it's just one frame. Okay, so click here to enable this. Once we have that done, let's go to composition setting and let's just set that to 15 seconds, not 41. 15 seconds, click OK, and now we have all this room to play with here, which is perfect. Let's go ahead and move this to about 3 keyframes. As you can see, it's frozen, but as soon as we get to this keyframe, it goes back to her normal moves. All right, and so that's important too. So now let's go ahead and click P for position, and let's make her go all the way up. I wish After Effects could do what Blender does. In Blender, when you do that, the mouse pops right back, and so the motion never ends. After Effects, just something for you to think about. Okay, once she's here, click position, and about the 3 keyframes, right? We're gonna bring her back down to 1080, which was the start, just like that, and then she lands. So to make sure that it's working properly, let's move this over here and lock it down to this part here, and just click the space bar and see what happens. So here with the space bar, she's falling properly, but the landing is too slow, right? If she was throwing some, I don't know, superpower to help her from not crashing on the ground, that would be cool, but she's not doing that. Because she's not doing that, what we have to do then is we have to make sure that at the end we have to go back to our time remapping, and let's bring this to about right there. So she falls quick and she quickly goes into this right here. So let's move that back over about right there, and let's just click on spacebar and see what it looks like. That looks pretty good. That looks much better, but still I think it's too slow, so I'm gonna move it right here instead, and let's see. Okay, and to me that looks more believable because she's falling from very high up in the sky, so she is falling really fast, okay? But it's really up to you guys. You guys can make that just a tiny bit slower if you want, but I'm gonna keep it here just like this, okay? So once you are here, now I want to share with you guys how the shadow becomes a problem. So yeah, see, she's high up here and the shadow is just hanging by her feet. That's the reason why I highly recommend you guys to do 2 extractions, the body and the shadows themselves. But if you did make this mistake and like, oh man, I want to go back and do everything all over again, you're gonna have to do what I did, which was simply I masked the shadow out, and once it was gone, I created 2 of the same, and one would have the shadow and the other one would have our actress, okay? And that's how I did that. But watch what happens when you are at the bottom though. Everything works just the way we want to, right? Not really. So again, we still have a problem here, but the way we fix this is to simply opacity it. That's it. So once your opacity is so about right there to right there, I believe the shadow starts to form. So what you have to do too is make sure that you make that right away, okay? So even maybe to right there, the right there will go like this so that the shadow forms itself right away, okay? But as you can see, it's still a problem up there, okay? So the way I did this is once we got to about right there, I started masking the whole entire shadow. Yep, the whole entire contour. And I went keyframe by keyframe by keyframe by keyframe. I think you guys get the point now, how painful that was, okay? So make sure you guys extract the shadow by itself and extract the persons by themselves, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Now, because it's a tutorial and I showed you guys my mistake, I'm gonna keep the mistake in because you guys understand now what not to do, all right? So once we have this, we have the landing. That's awesome. To make sure that it looks even cooler, you can click on the motion blur and boom, there it is. Now it looks even more cool, right? All right guys, that takes care of green screen out, background in, time remapping, and position. Alright guys, the next step simply is creating the cracked ground and the smoke coming out when she's landing, alright, or when you are landing, when your friends are landing. So where I got my cracked ground and smoke is from the Action Essentials 2-pack. If you guys want, go ahead and purchase those 2. I mean, you can still do the 720p. 720p was hot back then, but now it's old school, you know. And so it still might work if you just need it for background stuff, but if you need it to fill the whole entire scene, upscaling might not look good, and downscaling, well, you know what happens when you downscale into an upscale scene already. But the 2K resolution might be best, and I would even say 4K might be the best, especially if you're working with high footage. But that being said, if you don't want to do that, you can always go to Google too and find things like this on Google and you can use for fun, okay? So if you use this, all you would have to do is go to key light, click on the icon, click on this will disappear, and then you would just put it right down here and make sure that the mode is on either hard light, soft light, or linear light, okay? Overlay and screen, all those won't work out. So let's go ahead and do that right now. I'm gonna create a new folder and I'm just gonna call that extra footage, and I'm going to bring in my smoke and my ground. Here's the atmosphere, and I'm going to bring in the texture for the ground crack, and I'm gonna bring my ground crack, I'm gonna put it in between my footage. I want it to be behind my actress but on top of my background footage, okay? Once it's here, go to normal and choose either between hard light or soft light. Well, obviously soft light was an absolute failure. What about linear? Linear is pretty good. So linear and hard. hard will make it lighter, linear will make it much more visible, which is what we want. Okay, once we are here, let's just bring it to where we believe our actress is. Okay, now here is the problem again with the shadow, and I'm glad that I made all those mistakes that you guys wouldn't have to make those mistakes. Okay, hey, here's my friend here saying ha 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 ha. All right, so if you took the shadow out, right, and you put this on top, you would see her foot, both her foot and her hand, and then you would also see the shadow. But what you could also do on the shadow then is you can make the shadow screen an overlay on top of everything, and that would make it look very believable. But because I made this mistake, now you guys can see why I had to mask things out yet again. So hopefully you guys did exactly what I asked you guys to do and extract the shadow and the people separately. Okay, but for the sake of the tutorial, I'm gonna leave this right here as a reminder that I'll never do this again. Okay, so once we are here, we have to decide what lens first, right? So that foot lens first. So here we're just going to simply scale it down to match her foot. Boom, like this. I don't think it's landing, but we'll pretend that it is. And you want to start from right there, and then the next thing is the other foot lens. So now we're going to do this, but we're going to change the scale a little bit so that they both don't look the same. And from right there, so boom, boom, and then she put full force in like this. Once she's putting full force in, we'll create a new one, but this time we're gonna scale that a little bit. I would say about 7. Well, you know, 70 might not work, so we're gonna have to crank this up to about 120, like that. And then again, boom. Once she's right there, we're going to duplicate that, Control D to duplicate, and we're going to click S for scale, and we're going to crank that up to 1. I would say even further, about 180. Boom, just like this. So let's see what it looks like. Boom, 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 and once she puts a hand fist down right there, that's when it starts. Boom. So boom, 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 just like that. Okay, now of course if we did everything in the 3D world, the crack would appear differently. Okay, but because we're not doing that, we're making the crack appear very quick, and this is a very quick scene, so it doesn't matter because we're gonna blur everything out anyways. All right, that's pretty much that. Now let's go and add the smoke and see how everything looks like with the smoke. So we want the smoke to be on top of everything, and as you can see, 720p, hot back then, but on a 4K screen, not so hot anymore. But the reason why it works is because it's smoke, and we're just upscaling that, and it doesn't do anything to the smoke. Okay, so we have smoke. We have to decide when the smoke is gonna come out, and it's just a matter of moving through the whole entire tab here to decide when the smoke is gonna come out. Of course, it's auto saving, so we have to wait for the auto save to go through. I love the auto save because sometimes when things go wrong, it's awesome, but when you're like working super intensely and it all of a sudden shows up, you just want to punch your computer screen. Please don't do that, but you know what I'm saying. So let's just scroll and let's see the movements. We want a huge movement of the smoke, so let's take everything out and let's decide when it's moving. See right there, boom, that's what you want right there. Okay, so we know that it starts from right here. Let's bring everything back on. I'm sorry I was quiet. I was trying to figure it out. Boom. Okay, so what I want to start doing is from here to here, I'm going to be playing with the opacity. So I know that this is the main big explosion, so I'm going to do 100% here, and from here to here, I'm just going to do 0. So as she's landing, smoke's starting to show up, and boom, when she gets there, the smoke really just separates like this. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So from here to here, all we have to do is duplicate. And we also want to make sure that we bring this to the other side. So let's go ahead and make that into a 3D. And on the Y rotation, do that 180. So now it's popping on the other side. All right, that's exactly what you want. And now we then duplicate both. All right, so now we have a lot of smoke. So let's see how that looks like. Boom, just like that. So let's click our space bar and see what it looks like. Oh, let's go all the way down here. So about right there. There you go. Space bar. There you go. Okay guys, the next step is just to create some camera shake, and that's pretty much it. So what you want to do is you want to grab everything and you want to go down to layer, pre-comp everything, leave everything where it's at, and once you're here, you want to go down to your effects and presets, and you want to type in slider. From here, you want to grab a slider, just drop it in here, and you want to click P on position. You want to click Alt and click on that. Once you're here, we're going to write an expression, wiggle and 6 comma, and close that. Oops. And bring your cursor right in the middle like this. When it's between the comma and the parenthesis here, grab your pigwig tool, go down here, and boom. Once you're here, we just have to decide when she's landing, and from right there, we'll say it should be at 20, and right here still at 20, and when the other one crack, but right there, what we're gonna do is we're gonna set another keyframe. So before it cracks, we'll set a keyframe, and when it cracks, we'll make that 40. And then when it cracks into before the big one, set another keyframe, and then make that 60. And from here to here, it's at 20, right? And it's okay if it's at 20, or you can say, you know what, I don't want that. I actually want it to be at 10. So from here to here is at 10. It gets here, it gets 20 to the first crack and 20 on the second crack. It gets 40 on the medium crack, and it becomes a full 60 on the big crack. Okay, all right. And from there, now we also have to go on our position, and we have to make sure, not our position, our scale, and we have to make sure that it's matching properly. So I would say 101 for the first one. Yeah, as you can see, 101 looks good. And once we get here, we'll set a keyframe, and we'll see. So we're passing through, so we'll say 102. And here set another keyframe that is 102. From right here, since we're gonna go into 40, we're definitely gonna have to, actually we're pretty lucky, we'll say 103. And from here to here, set another keyframe, and here, let's see if 103 will hold. Okay, so just to be safe, we'll say 104. All right, so let's see what this whole entire thing looks like. There you go, guys, and that takes care of the shake. All right, guys, that concludes our tutorial for today and this week. Hopefully you guys had the opportunity to learn a few tricks and trades in there for those of you who are visual effects artists, and for those of you who are starting fresh, hopefully this was extremely super helpful for you guys too, so that you guys have the confidence to go out there and create some superhero stuff without too much other third-party software, but just using After Effects, what it has to offer, and a few other things here and there. Because today we created a superhero landing, got some cracks on the floor, got some smoke and some camera shake, and that was pretty much it, guys. There was nothing too fancy to this, and we didn't have to use a green screen at all. All right. Okay, I want to thank everybody for watching, and if you found this super awesome or just helpful, like and subscribe, guys. It always helps me create more videos like this for you guys. That being said, my name is Lobo and my channel is called ZooPF Visual Effects, and you have just been part of my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye now.